Okay. That is hopefully the last of our tech problems.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome! Thank you so much.
Oh, hello, Clear Mouse.
Hello,
Nice
Raylan. I am so glad to be able to hear you through Discord and not the echo on our restream.
Oh, let's hope we can leave this for a little bit late start behind us and get an amazing race with quite a bit of variation on the checks already. Thalane having found that glove on the eastern area, or in the eastern area. It's now going to check out Back of Escape, while Illus, having already found the flute, is on Death Mountain, and
yeah, certainly using that extra bit of game knowledge. He was a bit low on bombs. Probably wasn't going to have quite enough that he wanted to clear Mini Moldrum Cave, so he remembered that there is a cave that sells bombs at the bottom of Paradox Cave there.
Yeah, he was on one bomb left that he might have to use for bomb jump, and if he wanted to attempt maybe a Herapod, if Hera was accessible after Paradox Cave, that would be not enough. Also, Hype Cave, if we were to get Dark World access, we most likely would go, we probably would like to go in there with at least 2 bombs, so yeah. Remembering the job and picking up bombs, certainly a heads up play from Illus here. Let's see if there's something else on the mountain.
Nothing on the floating island that I'm sure they want. Meanwhile, Thalane gave us a lumberjack check. 300 rupees, probably not going to be enough to incentivize him to do Aga.
With 600 already in the inventory, there's probably no way they will ever go up there, pick those up. Even if Aga were our Dark World access, there's no reason to grab that money at this point.
And certainly they can't access Lumberjack without the boots, which they were missing the last game for a good hour and 15 minutes. So I certainly hope that that fate does not happen here again.
Way to the uncle. Check the front half of the castle. Well, Thalane without the flute is turning in the mushroom with the fake flipper set up here below Link's house. If there's anything interesting in the potion shop today.
Right, Uncle Tunnel doesn't have anything of real interest so far. Illus might. Oh my gosh! Thalane with a very, very nice pickup there, finding the cadence to Maria for the mushroom turn in.
Because I have a flashback to Seed I played myself earlier today, which had the exact same item sequence, mushroom leading to Samaria. I wonder if there's something going on. How the randomizer likes to place certain items in certain spots on certain days.
That is a great question for the devs. Yeah, I think through kind of like the earlier technical builds, I didn't quite catch where the mushroom actually was. So if it was somewhat in a lesser checked location, that's definitely going to be a big win for the lane here.
I believe it was over in the eastern area, or in Eastern Palace itself, since Thalane went over there, got that glove, and went on, while Illus not yet had a foot over there. Instead, prioritizing following the flute. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, it looks like the lane's going to give us quite a treat here. He's going to try and do some fake flipper and Scylla shenanigans here in order to get himself some access to that mirror that we saw on Zora Ledge.
Yeah. Problem with that is detonating the Samaria block does work to set up the fake flipper, but only if those shots stay long enough to do all the fake flippers you want to do. And going down that waterfall there is unfortunately too long with just the Samaria setup that it works.
Yeah, that
As
fake
well,
flipper. Yeah, no, that fake flipper is definitely, I would say, on the harder side in order to execute. But that's great game knowledge for the lane to know that the mirror is there.
Definitely, and he's probably lamenting the fact now that he does not have the red boomerang currently, because with that, in addition to Samaria and bombs, you would have been able to grab it.
This game is so interesting, right? You can sometimes wonder how these glitches get discovered, right? You just like throw a bunch of random stuff and then suddenly, hey, you get to flipper.
Well, there are some people that dedicate their free time to exactly that, to find such weird things, and
yeah, certainly it's quite the benefit for us, people who don't end up taking the effort to discover them, but being able to use them.
I mean, even that splash deletion way to set up a fake flipper is not that new, not that old actually. We have found that, or that was found or popularized, I'd say about half a year, maybe 9 months ago, somewhere. Or maybe a year now, on a game that's, what, 30 years old, almost? There's still so much stuff that we don't know about that can be found. It's always amazing to see how the top runners are adapting and take those newfound additions to put that into their routing and make use of it.
Yeah, also just quite remarkable how fast these runners have picked up on these tech.
I mean, that's what you have to do if you want to stay competitive at the highest level here in Rando, because the others are certainly not sleeping on that tech, so yeah.
Yeah, certainly no exception for these two top runners here from Germany. Alright, unfortunate, I'm sure thalane is lamenting that he could not get that mirror because he didn't have to, like, he could have just death warped, or sorry, he could have just mirrored out instead of death warping here. Oh, but it looks like he wants to save and quit, maybe? Or maybe not.
Deciding against it. I mean, there was that stun still from the hookshot, but it already running out. thalane thought, okay, might be still faster than just saving quitting and check it the hard way. And if I follow in chat correctly, there is a possibility that Illus actually might have skipped 2 locations in Paradox Cave. But yeah, found the bits now. I actually missed him picking up the other gloves that thalane is still missing. Yeah, maybe Illus remembering back on the mountain and equipping the hookshot again. Oh wait, he has the moon pearl. He has Dark Access.
Yeah, unfortunately no mirror, and also no mirror knowledge, since he hasn't visited the Zora area yet, so my guess is he'll just enter Dark Deathfall Mountain. He doesn't, unless he visits, and grabs these 2 extra checks that he forgot earlier. It looks like he just headed straight to the Dark World.
Let's hope it's not going to come back and bite him. We did get a map check I have seen a pendant in Skullwoods, and I believe we had a green pendant Swamp Palace.
Yes, that is also what I saw.
So yeah, that mirror lying up there, possibly not even needed, depending on where our last locations, or where our hammer is located, where the other items are. But I'm picking up the single arrow. Over here in Nagina's cave, of course, Illus already was here with his start of doing Minimodron Cave over to Desert. Which he prefers to do quite a bit of time now. Has already picked those up. But let's see what Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny Cave have for us today. Or, I mean, Super Bunny Cave we already saw.
Yeah, it looks like the lane here is just going to retrace some of Illus's steps. I think Illus had visited Desert pretty early. Alright, a whole lot of not noteworthy items here on Dark Death Mountain.
Well, at least he got the information about the Turtle Rock medallion out of it, which I unfortunately missed, and our tracker probably wasn't paying close enough attention to catch it. Looks like Illus is now going to pick up his Somaria. You definitely wanna miss that cane, and with the powder already found, there's no worry about potential fake flipper options or not. You can just check the magic bed normally if you get access to it. Well, update from the chat, apparently we have either, but that is... Yeah, always nice that chat is willing to help us out if we may miss something. But yeah, that is good information to have, and we will see now the second medallion, which I believe was the Quake one for Misery Maya.
Yeah, no medallions so far in sight, which means that they will have to find both medallions in order to complete the game today.
And my chat also not having anything noteworthy.
Pesky Dead Rock just had it out for the lane here. I must have also missed where Illus found his sword, because it does not actually look like the lane has one. Otherwise, I'm sure he would have given that Dead Rock a swipe or two. Or 7 or 8.
Well, I believe that actually was on the old man, so I am curious that thalane didn't pick that one up, but there was at least one on the mountain here. Because Illus got it there. Pendant Skullwoods, Illus decides to dip the front half of it.
Yeah,
even has the Somaria.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say actually. It's like, given that he has switched out to become Somaria, he can access the big key chest very easily. Certainly one of the items that you really want to prefer to have here to kind of make Skullwoods a little bit faster to clear out.
Yep, and no worries about the fire rod, because since we do not need to finish the dungeon, we do not really want to come back here anyway, so yeah.
Raylan, are you killing chat's pedestal dreams already?
How? We will see. I mean, we do know the mirror, and we do need to find the flippers logically, so we have at least access to Swamp Palace. Bow has to be found also, so there would be access to the Armor's Knights. And we will need to find the fire rod, so... I mean, pedestal is certainly not out of the question just yet. And I mean, the pedestal is notorious for holding on to any medallions you might not want to see on there.
Yes, that is certainly a great point. Those medallions could really be anywhere.
Nice hookshot save here. Little time save if you are not grabbed by that Wallmaster. A little bit unfortunate for X here, but with that small key already, he can just go the other way around. It tends to show that even the highest competitive level players do make mistakes here and there, and especially this being the potentially last game, Illus having the chance to win this whole tournament and guarantee his spot in the SG Live event. Yeah, he may actually be a little bit more nervous than he is used to. See if there is some more signs of him potentially not playing up to his execution level throughout the seed.
Yeah, sometimes it is certainly very easy to forget, as you said, as potential viewers or even as sometimes as commentators, just exactly how high the stakes are for this particular game. Kind of a pesky enemy under the bush there for Illus, kind of blocking his way, forcing him to make a slight detour for 10 arrows.
Yeah, those are the worst. And thalane actually still getting that hookshot
hit. That was quite the recovery here, as expected from somebody like thalane.
Always unfortunate if you do miss that clip, because it does take a few seconds extra to get up the stairs and then get back down again. Yeah, not having the mirror, as we saw, that was on Sora Ledge, and also not having the boots really kind of makes the traversal across Death Mountain just that much more painful. Does not look like the Trollcast had any major progression items so far, so this is taking a dip into the front of Thieves Town. We will see how much he want to do at this point, and yeah, if or not he decides to even attempt a clear of this dungeon.
Yeah, given that Illus has, looks like 10 hearts and blue mail and no mirror, it will be quite the time investment to death warp out if he chooses to do so. However, as you said, even though Thieves Town is a crystal, they don't have the hammer, so there is certainly a very likely chance that they're going to leave an item behind in the big chest.
Yeah. Certainly a possibility, and not one runners are happy to see. Let's see what the front has. That is this small key, so this is kind of a weird situation. We had one item, and we do now know we have access to the big chest. But thing about this now is, with the small key already been found, blind itself can hold on to the hammer. So when you are trying to put off doing Thieves Town just now, or just here and now, there might be a slight probability that that will backfire heavily. So Illus apparently not willing to take that risk. Just saying, let's just clear Thieves Town. There most likely has to be something here that helps me, so yeah.
Yeah, certainly Thieves Town, the front side, only finding one item in the front. Clearing the back is certainly a very item-dense location. And, as you said, leaving that one item behind is basically another full clear of Thieves Town, but maybe this is their best option. And especially if he thinks that thalane will also make the same decision, it will be no cost.
I mean, the other options you have would be to sequence break over to the East Dark World and do an check of Palace of Darkness, but without a bow and without a hammer, that's not something you are very eager to do when it's not even in logic.
Yeah, currently we can't even get over there, unless I guess we defeat Aga. Oh no, we don't even have enough to actually beat Aghanim either.
Nope. Missing a sword or the cape.
Yeah, and also that lamp.
That also.
Well, I do have every confidence that both these runners are very capable of doing Dark Aga. Always kind of nicer if you don't have to or choose not to do it.
Yeah, and with the knowledge about Lumberjack being not a required item today and several ways to get over to the East Dark World without doing Aga, I cannot imagine that we are going to see an Aga clear today. Even in the very, very unlikely scenario that is not even possible, looking at the tracker, that the hammer would be in the Pyramid Ferry, I would imagine our runners would probably just try to do a bomb tube.
Illus starting his blind fight. Well, actually, this is quite the difference here, because Illus will have a sword, which means that this scripted blind fight probably is very well practiced for him. Thalane not having that sword will probably use King Samaria, which is always kind of a treat to see, because it's not often done, but it certainly will be slightly different for him.
Oh, and apparently in a piece of information we missed over that technical difficulties at the start. Did you get that library check? I certainly slept on it, so...
I had certainly also not paid attention, so thank you to Hardy for informing us that if Hammer's on the library, that means that we definitely need those boots.
And they are going to turn up sooner rather than later. Then that hammer is actually locking quite a bit of the seed. Because everyone that's experienced in hammer go mode knows that just being able to do go mode swamp, go mode ice, and go mode turtle rock directly after it. Yeah, there's quite a bit that you can do with that hammer, and it being locked potentially deep into the seed means in the end it's going to get pretty fast.
Meanwhile, Illus sticking up his Master Sword from the big game and just making it out after right before the countdown stops.
Yeah.
So that will be most likely the Lane Spider Sword here.
I mean, that sword does take us a step closer to Aga being in logic, and therefore getting access to the East Dark World. But without that lamp that is still missing, no luck so far, and looks like Illus is deciding to get these myths after all. Because that is a check that is in logic.
Yeah, I'm certainly curious if he probably just intended to get Smith, and then did the dig game because he can't do the dig game with a follower, and then just kind of had a momentary lapse of memory, and then went back for him.
The other side, very, very good Samaria blind fight from thalane. Certainly showing that he knows his backup strats, even if the swords are not going to turn up early.
It's almost as if Thalane has played this game once or twice before.
Once or twice, or maybe about 2,000 times, who knows. So let's see, Hype Cave for Illus. Not starting great. Oh, more red. Flippers. That is an hype cave, because those flippers mean now we have access to that mirror, which in turn unlocks a few new checks.
Yeah, I'm certainly very happy to see that Tempered Sword, just because now that thalane, after making the same checks that Illus has just made, will at least be on Master Sword. Having at least Master Sword will actually give them both, along with the mirror, full access to both tablets. I was actually a bit worried that if thalane was only giving a Fighter Sword and there was something on the tablets, he wasn't going to be able to access them, just only know that they exist.
Yeah, I mean, that missed sword that I believe was on the old man. I can't imagine skipping that forever, but, well, looks like it wouldn't be really needed. That is a vanilla sword right there and then. Unfortunately, just not the right upgrade version on this particular check.
So for Illus, it is not quite vanilla, but imagine for thalane it will be if he picks up the smiths.
Would be fitting the color of the sprite then. And does look like thalane also does pick up the smith. While it is now having the flippers, we actually have logical access to the East Dark World, since we can just swim over. Was apparently on the way to maybe check Graveyard Legend Catfish, but deciding, well, maybe do Zora checks first. Or at least Hobo.
Yeah, maybe he chose to take the more south approach, because if he goes north, he pretty much can't get anything on that side. He doesn't have the mirror, he doesn't have the boots.
Only Catfish to get, and that would be a very, very interesting decision to take now over the complete Zora area that has opened up.
Mm-hmm.
Blue May for Illus on the Hobo. Certainly nice, but at 13 hearts already probably not that necessary anymore. Yeah.
Now, blue mail is certainly helpful, at least for the Ganon fight, because Ganon hits surprisingly hard on green mail. But I'm certainly in agreement with you that for the rest of the seed completion before Ganon, they probably don't need it.
Well, looks like thalane is not willing to bring the smith back home just yet. Instead, showing him a little bit more of the world. Going to check out Waterfall Ferry that he had not done so far, and going to pick up that mirror. He knows it's on the ledge, while Illus is just now getting that good message that there's indeed something to pick up here.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate for thalane, just because he visited Waterfall or Zora area a little bit earlier, and unfortunately doesn't still have the boots in order to make this trip a bit faster, and he will actually have to take a second trip to get this mirror. Illus decides that he doesn't want those 500 rupees going to waste. He's going to pick up that heart piece in exchange and not feel buyer's remorse whatsoever.
Interesting decisions, being on 13 hearts blue mail already. On the other hand, maybe he hoped for a refill, but that wouldn't do much with a save and quit here. Maybe Illus actually wants heart number 14 sooner rather than later. Never hurts to have more health.
Yeah, especially with that mirror, they can death warp now. They can mirror warp all they want now instead of death warping.
Looks like we are going to see and check of the Tower of Hera. No fire source just yet, but with the hookshot we are able to do a Hera pot, so we can at least get to Moldown, even if he would not be in logic. Also, being able to access that ether tablet is potential upside of this play currently.
Yeah, no hammer means that this is their only access up here. Kind of.
Meanwhile,
I'm sorry. Oh. Go ahead.
Just want to say, meanwhile, thalane picked up the mirror and headed back to the Dark World with the smith to pick up that purple chest, but Illus said, gotta go fast, and found those boots over on that ether tablet I just spoke of.
I'm sure Illus is very happy to see those boots.
Also, no need to worry about Herapod if you don't want to. We find a big key right here now. Meanwhile, thalane getting his absolutely vanilla tempered sword here. No need, but still, Herapod is actually a viable speed tech, and with the hook speed setup, it's actually good, quite a fast one, and well done from Illus here. Needed a second attempt, but then got it pretty clean.
Yeah, between the bomb setup and the hook setup, I'm not actually sure if there's like a preference or like a strong preference between the community, but certainly I know that runners have their own preferences.
Yeah, I mean, the hook speed setup actually requires you to have boots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So it's
right. Yeah,
obviously
and it's kind of free in terms of number of attempts, right? Because you can keep trying until you, I guess, succeed. Whereas the bomb setup, you have to line yourself up pretty well, and you also take damage.
Yeah, on the other hand, the bomb setup is something you can always do with just the bomb and the hook shots, so some people do not really want to bother learning more than one setup. That bomb setup in is most consistent, or isn't very consistent one if you do it right. You can assist it with the boots, but yeah. I personally prefer the hook speed setup when I am able to do it, simply because it is just faster.
Yeah. Meanwhile, thalane has lugged the purple chest back to its owner, unlocking the other mail upgrade. And along his way, checks Bombo's tablet, unfortunately just for 20 rupees.
Yeah. Doing some glitchy movement on top of it.
Meanwhile, as confirmed by chat, the hammer is in fact sitting on top of the library. When Illus got those boots, he looked like, after beating Hero, just beelined it right here to get a very nice piece of equipment upgrade.
Certainly makes sense. Does increase the number of options he has. There is now complete Swamp Palace full clear that he could do. There is now access to the magic bed that Illus is showing us right now.
Looks like thalane is going to take the Dark World version here and visit us to, and give us a visit to Hobo. He'll pick up his red mail. Oh, wow. Illus, meanwhile, powdering the, well, I guess invoking the magic bat here and giving us a fire rod for his trouble. 100% required here in the seed.
Yep, and I think that will change his course of action, because now he can just head over to Ice Palace and say, Crystal Dungeon, 3 items, just give me that. Blue mail, butter sword, 13 hearts, half magic. There is no worry in the world at all that you have here.
Unfortunately, can't quite go mode Ice Pals. It looks like they're still missing at least 2 medallions in their inventory before they can really just kind of skip all the chests if they want to.
Well, the good thing about Ice Palace with the Icebreaker is now that even if you're not go moding, you're not losing that much time, because with that new route we can take, pretty much all of the checks except for maybe Ice Room are somewhat on the way. So, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, speaking
of chests that are just directly on your path, Illus picks up the Ether Medallion here in Ice Palace. That is certainly one of our 2 requisite medallions we need today.
Yeah, that opens up 4 or 5 more items you can check over in Turtle Rock if you want to, including Mimic Cave. There's a 6th item potentially that you could get, but that one could also be on Trinex.
Thalane giving us our first peek into Graveyard Ledge. Unfortunately, it was just the other green rupee, so not even gonna bother to pick it up.
Yeah, maybe that one of the things we have seen throughout this final. Thalane, if he has the option to do, is inclined to do more safe plays, doing more checks, not risking skipping anything. Illus, this route a little bit more straightforward, does prioritize dungeons, a bit more, skips a few off checks, and so far it pays out more than it can hurt him. So yeah, let's see if the trend continues or if there's something that Thalane can do to turn around the momentum here, because Catfish would certainly be such a check that could hurt Illus. But not with that heartbeat.
Unfortunate, yeah, just a heartbeat today at Catfish. Yeah, as you said, because Illus had already visited the Zora and Waterfall area in the Light World, the likelihood of him going to Catfish anytime soon is pretty low.
Well, he still has that Northern Dark World route that he can take, so that would enable him to route Graveyard Ledge with Catfish, which is a little bit more okay than just going over to Catfish. But yeah, I imagine he is probably inclined to follow at least the Crystal Dungeons a bit more before opting for such plays. And Thalane, on the other hand, is apparently deciding to head over to Palace of Darkness. No bow just yet, but certainly a few things we could grab over here. We do have bottles. I believe there's at least 1 potion stored in them for Thalane, so he is able to do the potion camera unlock if he so wanted to.
Yeah,
but there just also could be a bow in pot. I think Illus is certainly remembering that one.
Yeah, and unfortunately he also doesn't have the hammer as well, so bowless, hammerless pod. Probably always not the thing you would always like to see, but you know, there could certainly still be progression here.
Yeah, on the other hand, no, he does know that the hammer is on library, so he's just looking for the boots, and they could just be over here, so yeah.
Yeah, actually, after both runners cleared Hype Cave and found Flippers, and then after getting their mirror, that was really was like a major point of divergence. Illus decided to head up the mountain, use that mirror to access Hera and the tablets, whereas Thalane decided to go further south, right, access some more overworld chance with Bongo's tablet, and do some, and kind of make his way up north. And you know, Illus found the boots, and Thalane has it so far.
Second key in the front of pot already. Looks like Thalane is going to check out the big key chest. Meanwhile, Illus following his crystal dungeons to desert to pick up the big key from the torch here. One more item to grab up here. This dungeon. Let's see if Illus manages to find it. Some small key. And from the looks of it, Thalane actually found another small key, so it's up to 4, I believe, in the front. So potentially 2 bow-locked items here. Let's see, there goes this blue potion. And the camera is unlocked. The enemies are going to be moved off screen. Game thinks they're gone. And opens the door. Okay. And fifth, the small key in the front. So while the boss itself may be bow locked, but that or hammer locking is it anyway. The back is not, so there could potentially some sort of progression be here. We just know.
And meanwhile, Illus, yeah, it looks like meanwhile Illus is starting his Lamo fight here. I think it looks like it's going to be a 2-cycle.
Missed a few fire rod shots, but with half magic you have plenty to spare.
Alright, looks like Lamo unfortunately did not drop the one remaining item, so Illus will need to go back to the right side to figure out what that one item remaining is in the desert.
Hello! There's a lamp and pot.
That is a fire source, at least for the lane.
Yep, and also all of a sudden complete dungeon except for the boss is in logic. Oh, the big chest is not, but that's not stairs here. And there is Quake, so sooner or later you will have to go over here.
Yeah, because thalane ended up picking up Quake, I'm wondering if he will choose to go to Misery Mire next, because that is, from his perspective, a very full clerical dungeon.
That actually is completely in logic too, so in his mind he could just suspect the boots being there. And yeah, that's certainly a possibility. I have seen seeds do something like that, and it's not funny.
It's not funny from a player's perspective, but you know, from a viewer's perspective, we might have different opinions.
Maybe.
Maybe, yes. Depends on how much we like the runners.
Illus not being able to skip anything here in Desert. Last item in the last chest he's going to check. And just 20 rupees.
Alright, looks like thalane has pulled everything out he can out of pod. Will make a beeline here to Mire. And certainly depending on where the big key is in Mire, it's could very well close to being a full clear of this dungeon.
Always a possibility, and Illus heading potentially over to Swamp Palace? Maybe checking Bombus tablet. That is the mirror equipped, and that looks like straight to the green pendant for Illus.
Yeah, it looks like Illus does not want to tackle a pod, I guess, without the bow.
Yeah, Illus is not a fan of that dungeon without a bow, and certainly not happy to find a bow in pod, because that means he most likely found it very late. So it is somewhat consistent with his playstyle. And I mean, there are 6 items and the green pendant to grab here, so there's no small probability that there's a bow, or maybe just an ice rod so you can head up to Turtle Rock and find your bow there. Still, it is a rather safe play. The more aggressive play here would certainly be just say, let's go check out Turtle Rock, it's already open so early in the seed compared to other times, so I just look for the progression there.
Yeah, it's certainly possible that Illus really wants to try out to minimize the number of trips up he takes to Death Mountain.
Which is a valid decision. Each trip up there does take you at least a minute. Even more like 90 seconds or something like that, so...
Yeah, it certainly depends on... but he does have the boots, which can make things a little bit faster, certainly, but yeah, it's pretty variable depending on how friendly the dead rocks are to you as well. I did see Thalane pulling out the big key from the hoverable location, so it looks like he's just gonna take that big key and beat Vitrius here.
Yeah, it's something I see quite often. If you just get a chance at Godmire, just go for it if it's a crystal. If Vitrius holds onto one of the items, you need to get that anyway. No need to complete the dungeon first, only to find out that the second item was on Vitrius. Of course, that means if you want to get the second item, if you have not found it already, you will have to do Mire 2 again, but still you can then just mirror out as soon as you find the second item, not bother checking any more chests. Yeah. For the boss fight, Heaven Tempered Sword. It's a rather easy one.
Yeah, that
Second
was a really
phase.
nice. Yeah, that was a really nice zero cycle there about Thalane.
Second phase, not so much without the bow, but Tempered Sword also does make that not the hardest thing in the world. You can somewhat just stun lock with yours. But only the map on the boss, so still 2 more items that can be found here.
Yeah, unfortunately also for Thalane, not having the Fire Rod means that he can actually not do any form of spooky action in Mire, so he had to take a couple, of extra seconds to kind of be able to clear the basement. Having sword beams here for one of the few rooms, along with that hook shot, will certainly make things a bit faster. Always very solid execution here by Thalane.
Without the boots, you have no real choice to do the fastest stretch. You have to do with whatever you can get, and having those sword beams still made it pretty quick. But on the other side, Arcus went down pretty quick too, thanks to that butter sword.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was not checking all of the chests in Swamp, but I believe Illus did not do left side. Is that correct?
I would imagine so. He was not long enough in Swarm to have done the left side. But I didn't pay enough attention to see if he found something worthwhile. Tracker does not show anything just yet.
Yeah, I did not see anything worthwhile in Swamp that he picked up in the chest that he did check. However, I'm not actually sure if there how many items are left in Swamp.
Is also not willing just yet to turn in that green pendant he collected. Instead heading back over to the broadcast's portal. And okay. Back to Skull Woods, potentially checking the pedestal. I mean, that's certainly one pendant down already. Second one just over here, you can check the pedestal, there's still one more item to grab. Which is also true for Thalane and Misery Maya, as he just picked up a bit, 20 rupee.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like the last item here is in the vanilla big key chest, which means we're going to spend another 17 seconds here sitting through a cutscene to figure out what that last item is.
And without the fire rod, he has to do it the slow way. So yeah, Thalane's decision to not head up the mountain without a fire source to check Hera, to check the Ether Tablet, is still hurting him quite a bit here. Second item in Skullwoods found, that is the Bombos Medallion. Completely useless for our run.
Yeah, especially even for Illus. Yeah, especially even for Illus because he had already cleared Ice Palace. I know that some runners like to take a more conservative approach when fighting Colsteer, but certainly as we've seen that it picked up half magic earlier, they probably don't even need bombos for that.
Yeah, but looks like there's still one more item to grab here. That is on Mortula. Illus having a little bit of trouble. slashing that curtain, all those vines. The one to the moth. Very tame moth, just flying into that sword and dying.
Looks like thalane has decided, after the entirety of Mire and Checkerboard Cave, is going to head up Death Mountain. He will, in short fashion, pick up his boots. Just over, let's say, an hour and 5 minutes.
Thalane certainly not really that lucky in this final series regarding those boots. As we get a pet check revealing to only be 3 bombs there. Yeah. Thalane in game 1 left the boots on the pyramid for half an hour.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking how reminiscent game 4 was compared to game 1. Yes, he did rock. Yeah, in that both runners kind of enter the Dark World about relatively the same time. Illus decided to choose north to go to the pyramid, where thalane chose south to go to Village of Outcasts area, and Illus found boots significantly earlier than thalane did.
Yeah, and in addition to that, finding more progression immediately behind it, which also happened today. So yeah, certainly not the lane series so far, and there are his options a little bit swimming away to turn this one around here. But there's nothing over there just yet. I mean, we know where the Quake Medallion is, but there has to be some bow somewhere, and the Ice Rod is still missing in action. Very, very nice Herapod there from thalane.
Yeah, certainly between our 2 runners, they've given us a good number of checks, but yeah, as you said, we still don't know where that Ice Rod is. And we also don't know where either of our 2 bows are. Looks like Illus is going to take the north route here, give us a couple extra checks, boots locked checks that I think thalane ended up not doing because he couldn't get the boots.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure thalane would have wanted to do them, but with all those boots, it's rather hard in our rule set to do that legally.
Yeah, especially since he checked regular ledge and it yielded a single green rupee, which I'm sure he was not too thrilled to see.
I mean, there are 2 of those, so have that a single rupee is probably not as special as the single arrow. thalane now clearing Tower of Hera, collecting his 3rd crystal. Doing a little bit of catch up, but still a bit more to do. Now heading straight for the hammer. And yeah, I wonder if he's just going over to the magic bed since it's nearby. If not, that would actually again hurt him a little bit. Because that fire rod is his entry to Ice Palace. No way around it. Seeing that Bombos was actually fire rod locked, and nope, that fire rod is still sleeping over on the magic bed. That heading for Desert Palace first.
Yeah, certainly a very logical choice, in my opinion. He has a fire source now. Desert is a fully clearable crystal. He has the boots, and there are items here in Desert, so certainly very well this could be progression.
I mean, there is only one more item for them here. Remember, we did find the flute earlier in the seed here, so I mean, it is a red crystal, so not the worst thing to do, but it is just one item. And doing that one now leads me to believe that he isn't going to check the magic bed very soon. Instead, is probably heading over to Swamp Palace first. Illus still not really eager to do part. I mean, he has the hammer now, he has a fire rod. So there would be, without the lamp, potentially 2 more checks in logic. But says, nah, Turtle Rock is open. At least 5 checks to get. Maybe it's time. The searching for a bow, searching for the Misery Maya Axis in the form of the Quake Medallion.
Yeah, and he's certainly searching for that elusive fire rod, or not fire rod, elusive ice rod.
Well, I mean, there is something about that ice rod where we like to say, if you're in doubt, just search in Turtle Rock. More often than not, is actually the answer.
Yeah, what common items have we seen on Laser Bridge in Turtle Rock? So we've certainly seen bows there, we've certainly seen boots there, we've certainly seen ice rods there. Really quite funny how much Laser Bridge has in terms of progression.
I mean, locked pretty deep into the seed, but still not locked behind that much items. So there are actually, there is quite a variety of items that can actually be there, and it's not that hard to at least give you access to Laser Bridge. More about you don't really want to go to Laser Bridge unless you know you can finish Trimax afterwards. But that's not always an option.
Yeah, and I'm sure the runners would absolutely love to keep their Dark World portal, but given that looks like they still have to do pod, I don't really think that's going to be an option.
Well, there is still a way, since we did not beat Agawan. You can Death Warp in the Dark World overworld to get back to the Light World without mirroring.
Right.
It is time consuming though, and there is a point where if you have to conserve your portal for too much time and have to make inefficient plays because of it, you just lose more time saving the portal than just saying, okay, you know what, just sacrifice it and go through a second time. Because going through Turtle Rock a second time, while not being the fastest, it is not as long as the first trip through it, since you do not need to get out of your way to pick up chests anymore. And as I predicted, thalane now heading over to Swamp Palace. I'm curious if you get to see the left side of from thalane here.
Yeah, certainly in his mind, what I imagine is because he picked up the Bootskillet, I'm curious if he will do some things that he wouldn't have done otherwise. One of those things could be just visiting Left Side Swamp.
Yeah, and if you know Illus a little bit, that left side swamp skip isn't something out of the ordinary for him, so you could reasonably say, okay, Illus has probably skipped this, so if I want to make up some time, that is a gamble I can take. Let's see if it does pay out if it comes to it. He certainly won't find the Cane of Burner over there, because that one Illus just picked up in the lava chest. Very nice enemy RNG here for Illus. That is the dream of every runner. Just loading the sword spin, going into that room, going down both Hokobokos, just hopping straight to ya, and you can spin them down in one foul swing.
Looks like thalane is going to make his trip over to left side. Certainly with Diver down, left side does become a little less tedious.
Yeah, if you are going to full clear anyway, and you do it this way around, it does save you a little bit of time compared to doing it the other way around through the diver down. So yeah, taking those time safe. If you want to do it anyway, doing it first makes sense.
Very smooth execution there by thalane.
That fire snack was a bit mean at first. It can sometimes just go in that corner and stay there, preventing you from actually performing the diver down you want to do there. You can block it with the Cane of Samaria if you're fast enough and it's not just going straight in there. And that was a very nice diver down. And let's see what it nets. It is an hard container, not something thalane would be pretty happy about. And that's not a bow.
Yeah, certainly some time getting back to Illus here, because looks like one will most likely be one of the last places he looks. As we speak of progression on Laser Bridge, Illus finds the one item that he needs to complete Turtle Rock and beat Trinix.
Yeah, once more, when in doubt, just search on Laser Bridge. Ice Sword will be given to ya.
Yeah, forget all this portal saving mumbo jumbo. He doesn't need to do anything, just to clear out the dungeon and then head out.
Still, it raises a little bit of a question. Where is that bow we need?
Yeah, between our runners, we've seen a lot of checks here. Thalane had checked left side swamp for us, and Illus actually just gave us basically a whole preview of what Turtle Rock holds. And still, yes, no bow.
Very fast Trinix fight here with the Butter Sword. Not much trouble. Even the second phase just goes down. And Trinix does not have a bow. So I imagine we are now going to see Spike Cave from Illus at this point.
Yeah, I think also they have Pyramid Fairy open to them.
Yeah.
Given that Turtle Rock is a 5/6 crystal, so we can have vanilla bow or vanilla silvers. It'll be vanilla something if it's in Pyramid Fairy.
I mean, there is still the option of there just being bow and vanilla silvers in Pyramid Fairy.
Oh wow, that would be quite the sight.
I have not seen it yet, but it's certainly possible.
Thalane actually is actually pretty good Argus fight. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get the zero cycle. Moved too close to the lane, unfortunately, but still very fast fight indeed. Yeah, and actually speaking of which, because Illus still has not gone over to the Pod Eastern area, he has not turned in the green pendant.
Sure, that's also an option. Let's see if thalane beats him to it. Does look like it. Meanwhile, Illus is probably trying to cash in on that red bomb. Great pendant only with a bottle. Does contain a fairy, but I don't think that's something those runners need.
Yeah, the lane has red mail and 17 hearts. It's difficult to imagine some scenarios in which he would take a death at this point.
Yeah, even Spike Cave, he could just walk through and he still wouldn't need that fairy. If he has at full hearts at this point.
You say like something like 14 hearts, I think.
Yeah, I
something
mean,
ridiculously high that you would never have, but apparently the link still has on the seed, so.
I think brute forcing, if your movement is absolutely perfect, is I think 12.25 heart. If you're not that optimal, 13.25 hearts is definitely enough for most people to go through there without any aid.
Right, and also reminding, at least certainly me, that hammer pegs exist. It looks like he's going to combo this with the magic bat, so he'll be happy. He'll at least get his fire rod. I don't know how happy he'll be.
And that's a pair in the Pyramid Fairy, unfortunately not the one we are looking for. And looks like Illus is now heading over to pot to just find out there is no bow there. But he would at least pick up his Quake medallion. Still, the question remains. Where is that bow?
Yeah, I'm trying to think right now which locations we haven't seen from either of our runner.
Do you remember the Thieves' Stone Big Chest?
I certainly do remember now that you have reminded me. Is that where Thalane's going?
Potentially. No, does look like Boots checks first. Maybe Skull Woods. There are 2 items in the bag, he knows it.
Yeah, oh yeah, and also from Thalane's perspective, there could also just be a bow sitting in Ice Palace.
Sure. He has that option open now. It is somewhat interesting that he is actually prioritizing Skullwoods over that Ice Palace, but that maybe just speaks to his mind frame he is working with right now of being most likely being way behind.
Yeah, so certainly. If a bow was in a crystal dungeon, most likely he's already lost this, and so he probably is, as you said, just trying to think of scenarios where he has a winning chance.
Little does he know, Illus did most of this checks himself already, so he won't be finding anything worthwhile here.
Certainly, as us viewers and commentators are aware, Thalane did end up skipping a check, which is the Old Man, which is our fourth sword. It won't hurt him, I think, in this case, but assuming he does remember, that could be something that he also does later.
Yeah, it's... You would need to pick up the Ether medallion first, here from the back of Skullwoods. So he does pick up something worth... No, that was Bombus here. Where was Ether again? I know we have seen Ether somewhere, Illus has it. Just can't remember off the top of my head.
Ether was in ice.
Oh, yeah, first chest. Right.
On
the way.
Yes. Answer a few questions in chat. Bongstrogs, words checked. Both runners look. At least Illus checked Bongstrogs and Thieves. King's Tune didn't yield anything, and Quake was in. Quake was in pod. Illus will pick it up very soon.
Yep. And it is a strange pot here. 5 small keys and the big key in the front. Big key bow locked. So you know that the bag is in logic for the most part, except for the lamp, which is in an way the Ice Lord likes to be in Turtle Rock, also being here in Palace of Darkness. There's a certain tendency to be just in the harmless hallway, that lamp. Now Thalane going for the Crystal Dungeon, will find his Ether Medallion, will be able to complete Turtle Rock then and there, could do Red Bomb after, but won't find the bow in any of those. And yeah, I mean...
Yeah, my guess is after not finding the bow here in pod, Illus might just mirror and check out Pendant Eastern before heading over to Mire, or maybe he'll just cut over to Mire immediately.
Well, I think he was already in Eastern in the Light World, and there's just the boss left, which in some sort of cruel fate, does need a bow to check.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize Illus had even been to Eastern. Must have just missed it in our scramble in order to try and get our voices heard on commentary.
I mean, I know for sure thalane was in Eastern at the start, so there's no bow to be found there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Illus is heading towards his last location pretty quick here, so he will show us probably the Thieves' Town big chest soon, because I can't remember any other check we have yet to see from either of the runners. Okay. Yeah, that was just something I wanted to point out before, though. Having now found the Quake Medallion, Illus now I actually can check Misery Mire for its 2 items. And to collect crystal number 6.
Yeah, I believe what thalane found in Mire was a red rupee, and the next a shield upgrade in the vanilla big key chest location. So certainly nothing I think that Illus probably cares about at this point.
Nope. Yeah, I spoke of this option when it came up, but that Thieves' Town big chest can just be really mean at times, and looks like we have just one of those times here. There was no need for either of our runners to really go through to blind at the point they were there. They knew about the hammer, but blind was not hammerlocked, so the boots that were necessary to pick up could have been just there. And when they visited Thieves' Town, they had done already quite a few checks, so their options were going rather thin. Yeah.
Yeah, especially given that both of them dipped the front 4 and only found 1 item. You know, it was quite a lucrative option at the time.
Yeah, and if you find an item in the front, there's always that possibility you're hoping for of there just being the last dungeon item being locked in the big chest, so you do not have to worry about it at all.
Looks like thalane has remembered that he still needs to rescue the old man, so he will be upgraded to the Butter Sword, I guess when he ends up fighting Trinex.
Yep.
Yeah, to some extent, maybe he's relieved to see that it's a Butter Sword, because most likely that he, you know, forgot about this check and just remembered now, and so if it were the bow, he might have just felt worse.
We would have to look at the situation. thalane was back up on the mountain here. He had no sword. I don't know how many hearts he had, but the old man itself was not in logic at that point, and it actually takes a few seconds to grab him and bring him back, so it's not the fastest check you can make, and especially with Mirror and Flute, you do not really do that many save and quits anymore. So even that starting point is not the most helpful. There's always the possibility that you just forget about that one check.
Yeah, I want to say that the second time they came up the mountain, in order to do Hera, they had some better equipment, but yeah, I mean, it's certainly just up for their discretion.
And there's also a thing to say that if you skip it, or if you forget it at first and then remember about it somewhat in the middle, there's always the option to say, okay, I skipped it for so long already, I just commit to it and only check it when it really is something. Because if it is something, you might have just have a straight up disadvantage from the get-go, so maybe better to actually play to the outs that there is just nothing. And save time that way.
Meanwhile, Illus with that butter sword was able to clear out Vitrias a bit faster than thalane was, and making his way back into Meyer to pick up his last 2 items. Or his first 2 items, I guess. I didn't get anything the first time.
Doing the same route thalane did. And then Illus is going down to his last few checks. There are the 2 chests containing 1 item on the left side swamp. I believe he did not turn in the purple chest, since there should be his red mail. And yeah, that Thieves Town big chest, which we suspect has to hold on to our bow.
Yeah, at least on Illus's side, I don't remember if he had gone back to Paradox Cave to get the last 2 chests. If he has just, written them off, then he'll just never go visit them. But if he forgot, then he'll certainly never go visit them until he remembers.
If he forgot, that's not something you can easily remember. Because on most trackers, you mark them off just in one fell swoop if you use it at all, and it's just so in your muscle memory to always check those 2 chests first, and then just head up the stairs. So remembering that you did not pick those up, but the upper 5, yeah, that's a situation you're not often in, so it's not likely he's going to remember. And even more than thalane now, if he decided to skip those 2, I would say play to the out that there is not something, because if you skipped your important item there, at this point you probably have lost so much time about it that even going for it now probably not helping you that much. Rather, take the chance that if it's not something you need and you are still in the race, go to the checks that are more likely to help you win. But that's item number 2 for Illus, so let's see what he decides to do. No good options left.
Certainly have to give some credit to thalane here. Given, I think, probably the situation that he thinks he's in, I have really not seen his execution falter whatsoever. Just the fact that he can keep a pretty level head in this, I think, is very commendable.
Definitely. If there's one thing to say about thalane, it's his amazing consistency to play at the highest level of execution here. So, yeah, with his experience, I think he's he's playing Rando even longer than Illus and was around since very early. So yeah, there's not much that he hasn't seen, not much that he hasn't experienced, and yeah, showing why he's the one of the best, even if he is not playing as much as he maybe did at some point.
I certainly know that thalane for a little bit took a break. Oh no!
It's not. That's not something that has to be hurtful for thalane, although it loses him quite a bit of time here currently. There are ways to get out of it. I wonder if thalane is able to get it here when decides nope, doesn't work. And actually, having checked Mimic Cave, this one doesn't hurt as much. You can just mirror to take 3 rooms earlier, redo it, and accept a 30 seconds time loss. But yeah, that's something, or that's a reason why you do not see that many runners that are not at this top of the top level opt to not use an immediate second shot of the Samaria to re-switch those blocks, because you do not want to get trapped in there. And there's no shame to just playing that room a little bit safer, getting the chest, then getting out, and then flipping the switch again. But yeah, I think it had shown that thalane said he needs every little bit of time save he can grab for, he can get. He is heading over to Trinix after having picked up his ice rod, and yeah. Meanwhile, Illus.
I'm not actually sure where Illus is actually going.
Is there still an item left in Hera basement? That would be the only reason I can think of to come back here, and looks like Illus is thinking exactly that. So we actually have two very mean locations that potentially could hold on to the bow.
I had actually not realized that both Illus and thalane skip Hera basement. I actually thought that they actually got both items out.
I mean, with the timing, thalane went to Hera after finding those boots. That was the point where thalane had absolutely every reason to believe he was behind, so skipping Hera basement at that point wouldn't actually surprise me, even with the very safe playstyle that thalane has shown so far. Would be unfortunate if exactly that was his downfall. Because there is still the option that the Thief's Stone Big Chest is just not an item anymore. I have not counted. So let's see. And there is the bow. Oh boy.
Well, I'm certain that Illus is both very relieved and potentially quite nervous to see that bow there.
For sure. But for thalane, it is the situation. He did so many safe plays again in this heat. And at the one point where he decided to begin skipping some of the way out of the way checks, it just comes back to bite him hard.
Yeah,
Leaving behind his fire rod, skipping his bow. Unfortunate. Yeah.
I mean, certainly the decision now to do Pyramid Fairy, given that he just did Turtle Rock, is very logical. 2 items here. Much better than going back to Hera basement.
Yeah. That's the thing about things you did skip. If you decide to skip it at some point, you're usually going to commit to it. But yeah. It does look like we will have an actual winner of this tournament after this game. Because at this point, even is thalane heading up back to Hera? He cannot have that much checks left to do as well, so...
So I think thalane did not end up doing Spike Cave, is that correct? Illus was the one who did it?
I think so, but if you want to combine those checks, it's faster to do Hera first and then go back down to Spike Cave, so... This may not be as over as I was inclined to call it a second ago.
thalane actually is going to go back, looks like, to Hera basement.
So yeah. Illus does have the pot clear, or is the pot clear ahead, most likely, but this is not over just yet. There is still the GT big key routing that can come into play. And although I don't think execution should make a difference at this point, at least no big one, considering what equipment we have, that climb still can be a spot where thalane can make up some seconds. He is an experienced NMG runner, and Illus said himself that in the climb he feels like thalane is able to get up to 30 seconds. on him, so yeah, it's not as over as it looked like about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm certainly very happy to see thalane taking a visit back here to Hera Basement.
That is crystal number 7 for Illus, so yeah, up to GT, and let's try to see where that big key will be hiding out today, as the runners are about to give them a high five here in the eastern area. Illus about to float away, sees thalane just landing. But yeah, as there is a little game that chat has already taken liking to play, where do you expect to find the big key today?
Where do I expect? Oh, that is a great question. Given what these runners had to go through just in order to get to GT, I'm certainly hoping for an early big key. So let's say 3.
Ooh, that's a check I potentially like. Well, certainly a number I'm a little bit biased to, but that has a certain meaning, a certain reason.
Oh, and what would that reason be?
I mean, my 3 is probably a little bit more often a check that most runners wouldn't put onto the 3. Let's just leave it at that.
What is your preferred location? Is it the torch in that case? Like, do you visit Hope Room first?
I am a Hope Room player, but I'm not going to check the torch after it.
Ah, okay.
If I can help it. Depends also a bit on how I feel I did in the race, but yeah, let's see what Illus is deciding to do as he enters GT. Starting right, checking out Hope Room.
I think I saw this path also from Illus and Game 3. Well, speaking of the other bow, that was quite the fortunate discovery.
I mean, where else could have been? Was there an item on armor
further in
left?
GT basement, maybe could have been up in the gauntlet. Keep some suspense for me.
Well, I mean, there's enough suspense with the big entire room.
What kind of journey this scene has brought us along so far? It really looks like Illus actually had quite the advantage, having boots so early, unlocking so many things. But then he visited Hera Basement, or he visited Hera with the fire source, could do the basement, and then Thalane ended up skipping Hera Basement, and that was their only accessible bow.
Yeah. Thalane himself had the option to check Hera Basement the first time up there. Decided not to, and therefore didn't use his chance to really get back into the game. But still, he did go there in a somewhat reasonable amount of time, and well, he is now starting to head up the mountain. And if the big key were to be in the compass room, and Thalane decides to do a variant of the Dark Magician routing, this could be a very, very close race in the gauntlet again. Nope, no such chance. Illus thing says, I want to win this game. I get that big key. Which I believe was on 2-7. Is that 9?
I had actually had not been paying enough attention for, unfortunately, for the count. I will definitely trust your count if that's the case.
Hope Room, Torch, Starforce Room, which makes up to 7, then Firebar Room, and then Fire Snake Room where the big key was, so it should be 9.
Those dead rocks! Just a total nuisance here for Thalane.
Yeah, haven't opened up the Turtle Rock portal. This is actually the fastest way to get over to GT, but those dead rocks, man. If I have not opened up the Turtle Rock portal, I always take the way through Dark World, just because there are way less dead rocks to deal with. They really can ruin your day.
Oh, they don't have to wait until GT to ruin my day.
For sure. I mean, the worst, or they are even worse at the start of the game when you are only at 3 hearts. All those sky cabbages are falling down and dead rocks say, nope, you're not getting through here. Just take 1,000,000 damage. But thalane also decides to start in Hope Room, picks up his silvers, and will be getting his big key on the number 9. Unfortunately, that will not help him to make up time, as Illus has defeated Lenmo to miss the silver arrow, but still gets some good 2-cycle here. Troops 2, no problem. Haven't done this 1,000,000 times already. Illus doesn't show a sign of nervousness anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure he is more than anxious, however, to finish the seed as fast as he humanly can possibly finish this thing.
I mean, after finding that bow, he is probably really wondering why hasn't thalane finished yet. Because if you just grabbed that bow in Hera basement, you could have had a fire source prior to getting up to Hera. thalane showed it. If you grabbed that bow, you would have saved you quite a hunt. So, being up here, still no sign of your enemy finishing, you are going to wonder, did my opponent also skip that bow and Hera? Was there no second one? Or I think Illus should know that, yeah. I mean, he knew or he knows that the second one wasn't accessible, but yeah.
Yeah, certainly the collection rate for these 2 runners should be quite high in this case. I don't think I'll quite hit 200, but I mean, it should be pretty close.
Yeah, actually hitting a collection rate of 200 is harder than you think, because there are quite a few dungeon items that you can skip if you are counting items in dungeons. All the checks that are directly visible that you don't have to pick up don't count for your item count. There's quite a portion of items still left in GT, so in non-key sanity, even hitting a 170 collection rate is already pretty high. I mean, to compare my all dungeons key sanity I played today earlier, I full cleared with a collection rate of 193.
that is quite the collection rate.
So yeah, getting up to 180 on a normal seat is already quite a struggle.
As thalane here is tearing through his gauntlet with his butter sword and silver and fire rod and half magic, Illus is dropping into cannon. This is about as good as equipment as you're going to be able to get.
Yeah, I mean, 6 lashes per phase, the first 2. Already done with the second, doing a few extra because why not, you have nothing else to do anyway. Perfect, dodging. 4 slashes for the third phase, each time there's a row of tiles just falling down, enabling to fall off the platform. And then 4 silver arrows to land when the torches are going to get out. To finish the seed, win the race, and the tournament for Illus.
He is just a few silver arrows away from winning this entire series of the finals and representing Germany in SGL later this fall.
gets a good double to start here. Perfect setup for another one. No problem. Scannon is down. Illus careful to not just run off the ledge. Gets the cutscene, is now safe, has just to hold up and hope that thalane is not finishing at the same time, which he won't since Illus crosses that bridge and finishes this seat in first place with an official time of 1 hour 47 minutes and 7 seconds. GG.
GG to Illus. I'm sure he is more than happy to be done with this race. And well, thalane here is actually not that far behind. He has one more room here to clear before heading off to his Agatsu fight.
Yeah, getting back to the Terra basement enabled thalane to still have a chance even despite all the struggle he had throughout the seed, which just shows that how much of a strong runner thalane is. But yeah, in the end.
I'm sorry. Oh no, I was just going to follow up with your thought that, you know, actually throughout this entire series of 4 games, I have really not seen thalane drop execution whatsoever. He, as you said, he's incredibly consistent. Anyway, it's whatever he does, he just does it almost flawlessly every time.
Yeah. He certainly has shown why he was the winner of the first German tournament. He showed that he deserved being still in the finals here with the stacked tournament. I mean, the names that just lost in the quarterfinals with, or that were lost on the way to the finals for both those players, with Gem, with Yagamov.
Yeah. I believe you were also part of the brackets that these guys kind of bulldozed over.
Well, I mean, thalane just steamrolled me with a quick 2-0 in the quarterfinals, so yeah. While I was part of it, I can't say I ever had really a chance. Which partly was because the things I did because I knew thalane was strong in execution in the end did not pay out. But yeah. He deservingly won that, and yeah.
No, I mean, yeah. So certainly, as you said, the performance for both these runners, you know, throughout the brackets, has just been impeccable. Especially even against these guys. Sometimes it's you know, difficult to, you know, kind of appreciate just how skilled these runners are when you're pitting them against each other, just because they both play and execute at such a high level. It's just really the fact that these guys can go toe to toe with so like few execution and basically running decision mistakes. It's just really just a testament to how great both these runners are.
Yep. And while we are trying to cover some time with both of our runners probably being over on the German interview, I want to already thank all participants of the Restream cruise for that fine. I mean, I saw the latest comment and now got to see that message again, but I mean, that seat knew. That seat really knew. But I'm going to ask you, did you like that dose placement?
No, I in fact did not.
I think our runners certainly have their opinion about this one, but as I was saying, yeah, big thank you, especially to you, Dear Mouse, as you, I believe, commentated all 4 of the races for the German finals here over on the English restream. So big shout outs to you. It was fun doing 2 of those with you.
Oh no, the pleasure was all mine. Very happy to be able to actually bring the English recast to life. I'm actually a very big fan of the German community, and in particular some of these runners here that we got to showcase in the finals. And thalane and Illus are obviously two of the greatest German runners the community has to offer. So to be able to showcase this kind of talent is actually just my privilege. Very happy to see that. And yes, Brandon, thank you so much. I'm glad that I wasn't too painful enough to talk with for an hour and a half. That you'll really come back again.
I mean, like I said, I had fun. We were great races, and you did an awesome job doing this with me. So, yeah, I would be happy to do it again if the opportunity comes up. And yeah, I'm sure there will be more opportunity, as there will be probably a main tournament happening somewhat soon-ish. Who knows? There should be one already be in the planning stage, at least.
Yeah, so I've certainly heard rumors that there are plans for both the main tournament and season 3 of the ALTTBR League, as well as actually the main event of SGL, which due to kind of like real world circumstances, will be exclusively online. And because the main event is happening in November, they will have to have qualifiers. I would say relatively soon, probably in September, if not or October, if not earlier.
Yeah. Also, if since they expanded the participant field from 40 to 80 because of it being an online tournament, there are actually quite a few more spots to grab. So yeah, I am certainly interested in seeing who is deciding to show up for the qualifiers. I'm certainly giving it a shot myself.
Oh, that is that's quite exciting to hear. I look forward to seeing your name in the rosters. Maybe you'll have a matchup, a rematch between Illus or thalane for you.
Oh, it's certainly possible. I mean, already in this tournament, I got my rematch against Illus for him eliminating me from the third tournament already. So actually, I have enough reason to hold a grudge against both of our finalists here. But I kind of paid Illus back a little bit here because I can say that in this tournament, I actually am the only runner to have a positive race score against Illus, thanks to the Swiss stage and me pulling off the win again on our opening match, actually.
Oh, that's it must have been a good, a nice feeling.
I mean, it's certainly something that you can claim that you have something in common with thalane and Gem. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, as just from a outside viewer's perspective, I mean, watching the German community kind of grow and just seeing how much talent there is in the German community is actually is really impressive. As you mentioned some of these names, Illus, Gem, thalane. I mean, it's just it's actually. I mean, these guys are like scary in their own rights.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, there are quite a few of the old names. So we named quite a few of them. Illus, thalane, of course, Gem, Hitsuyan, Ravis, known runners, accomplished runners. That's the word I was looking for. But there were quite a few surprises, you might say, or people that show that they are rising and trying to attack the position of those old people to maybe knock them off a peg. Names like Schulze, myself, I believe Ray 07, no, Ray 07, not to be confused with Ravis. There are some newcomers that showed already that they are willing to learn, and yeah, we can expect even more to come in upcoming tournaments, I strongly suspect. So
yeah. Yeah, no, certainly. I can only imagine the German talent pool growing. It's really just great to see in general just how much international participation this game has gotten. Yeah, so it does sound like our runners are currently occupied doing the interviews in German on Speaking in Deutsch. I assume they're going to come in after they get their fill of the German community.
Yeah. I mean, we probably want to take them too long. We actually spoke about most of the seat already with us, and we don't want to take the runners too far, but we actually hope, of course, we hope to get at least a few words in from them. I mean, I like Illus collection rate, a very nice number, something you can really aim for.
I'm sure Illus intentionally got that. Intentionally skipping left side swap for 2 items, right? Never going back.
I mean, you have to plan out your checks somewhere. But, yeah, it was certainly in serious in the finals. We mentioned some of the similarities between this race and the first race. And I mean, really, the boots were one of the story of this match for thalane. Half an hour later in the first seat, half an hour later in the last seat, somewhat. And not to be found at all in the third seat, at least before GT.
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like thalane didn't really plan out his checks that perfectly. I mean, he was one less than Illus, but yeah.
Yeah, really, it does seem like the seeds so far that at least they've gone through this series have actually been quite open just in terms of decision points. We saw actually some very early divergence. Actually, basically has led to drastic differences in just terms of like what progression items they picked up and how they ended up routing the rest of the seed.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we did see the playstyles of both our runners. They didn't change much of them. Yeah, Illus always or erring on the little bit more aggressive side. thalane playing it more safe, and it certainly played out to Illus' advantage. But yeah, the seats weren't, or most of the seats weren't that linear, and there was no really clear-cut execution race in any of them. But I think we stalled for time long enough because I heard just our 2 runners show up for the interviews. So GG's to both of you.
GG's.
Yes. GG's both of you to a very wonderful series. Very, very impressive and entertaining to watch. Thank you so much. And GG Illus, you won.
Yeah, I'm still very happy. It's incredible that I won. It's my first tournament or whatever that I ever won, and I'm just super happy.
So onto this particular seat, I think there's one question that the seat already asked us, but that we might want to have some words on. But how did you like that bow placement?
Oh, dude.
We both established that we both didn't like the seat.
I can see why.
I mean, this went as bad as it could have gotten, right? And I was so surprised when I went into GT and upstairs and all that, and Illus was still wasn't done. I was like, man, what is he doing? Like, how is he not done yet? So confused for quite some time, actually. Like way before the last crystal, I was like, okay, it should be done any minute. I kept checking SRL. I was like, okay,
I kept checking
still
SRL
not done,
too.
still not done. It was like, what is going on?
I felt behind, man.
Yeah, I think it was just the seat.
Yeah, it was the seat. At some point, my only explanation was that we both just skipped Terror Basement for pretty long, and I don't know. Maybe I could hope that the time saved by not doing Eastern Palace was enough, but that's about it.
So you actually didn't went into Eastern. We had some technical problems at first, so we didn't quite catch all of the start as we might have wanted to. But
yeah. Since I needed to do something, I needed to skip something. Eastern Palace was the thing, and I really didn't want to come back for it.
Yeah, and that can be why what was maybe that time save you needed, but for the longest time it really looked like you just had won this by far, this, because thalane really decided to do anything but go up to the ether tablet after grabbing that mirror, so it was really late to the hammer, and you were quite a while way in front.
Yeah, uh, like my decision to save and quit after Hype Cave and then turn in the Smith and I was going to go maybe to Port, but then I decided not to because it was kind of dumb to do so, because I would just keep walking through the North Dark World and it would be really inefficient, and the time I needed to process that was way too long. So I decided to go for that Zora area and hope to find anything there, and hopefully go from there. It was worth it with the boots, obviously.
Yeah, so thalane, I mean,
Yes.
those the boots, they were a story that were all through all of the seeds here. I believe I did miss game 3, but I heard boots were in GT, so you both had them. I didn't have them, but
Yeah, the other 3 games though, I think I always got them like way after Illus. That was like the recurring theme, which is not what you want especially not in a finals like series, right?
That is
yeah.
correct. Yeah, in game 1, you got boots. I think something like half an hour after Illus.
Yeah, and
Yeah, but
even
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and even here you didn't get them or did get them at least 20 minutes later. So
Yeah, and I also knew I wasn't gonna win this when I grabbed them. I was like, okay, well, Illus probably went here like 15 minutes ago. I have to do something else, like, and start skipping things. That's why I went like didn't do Hera Basement, didn't do Ice Tea Room. I was just like, okay, let's do some crazy stuff. Try to like find something somewhere, and then it was just like nothing. So yeah, it's kind of annoying, honestly, when you like have to full clear almost every other seed, right? But I guess that's the game. Like, you know what you sign up for, it's rando, and yeah, that's okay.
So yeah, I mean, you had certainly played it very safe through all of your matches, at least at the beginning of the seeds, and checked almost everything there was to check, to the point to where Illus decided to skip some out of the way checks that you still took, and yeah, it didn't pay out too much today either. And it was again when you started to skip 1 or 2 checks, those were the checks where there actually was something to grab, because I believe
that sounds so miserable, by the way. I'm so sorry, thalane.
You know what? This describes perfectly how I feel about this game in general, because that's what happens every single time. But that's okay. I mean, that's all good. Also, let's maybe focus more on Illus, because he won this, right? So it's more about him, I guess, right now. So yay!
So okay, you want to focus on Illus. Illus, Paradox Cave. I was told you didn't actually pick up all the chests in there.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that could be.
Yeah, so
Oh, crap.
Bryce, because we had some technical difficulties, we were reminded in chat actually after you had bombed the left side Paradox,
that could
bombs.
be.
You did.
I bombed open the hole, and then I went to buy bombs, and then I think I went upstairs. Oh my god, I feel so embarrassed right now.
Okay, Illus, you have to promise me one thing, okay? Like next year,
Yes.
Illus, next year, don't pull a Bonta, don't skip back of Tavern in your first race after you win the flight, okay? Don't do that.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, Bonta.
Yeah, okay. It is now that you have won this tournament, you have booked your spot for the SG Live online event this year, as well as a flight over to the SG Live event next year, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah. What? How do you feel about that? How is your mindset going into 2 tournaments there?
About my mindset going to the I don't know, man. It still feels a bit surreal. I'm not sure what to say. I'm looking forward to doing it, and I'll do my best as always.
And I certainly wish you the best of luck. I'm really happy for you to get your first tournament win under your belt, so certainly something to be happy about. And yeah, I'm expecting to see more great races from you, and I'm excited to see what you can do in the SG Live event.
Well, thanks. I'm excited too. I also fulfilled your wish of never anyone beating me more than you did.
Yeah, it's quite a thing that I can claim for myself. I am the only one in this tournament to have a positive game record against you.
Good job, dude.
But yeah, think if there's nothing else to say, we can let you two leave to your evening. I'm pretty sure you are tired and want to do some other things. Unless you maybe need to sort your thoughts.
It was definitely nerve-wracking, and yeah, I'm kind of glad. In a sense, I'm glad that it's over, because I was pretty stressed and nervous. I mean, it was very cool too, but still, GG again, thalane.
Yeah, GG's, dude. Nice tournament.
So go ahead. Okay. Thalane, one last question to you two. Now there are still the international qualifiers happening sometime in the near future. Are you intending to participate in them as well, and maybe try to get revenge on Illus in the actual tournament?
I mean, I'm gonna be there anyway. Like, doesn't matter if I win something or not. So I guess that answers your second question as yes. And the first one, I guess, why not? I mean, there's nothing to lose, right? So you can always join, try to get like a nice reward. And if it doesn't work out, that's still okay.
Yeah. So also wishing you the best of luck as well, and I'm excited to maybe see you soon in more render races. Maybe one last piece of advice to German-speaking participants of that SG Live event: maybe practice to get the torch glitch. I think you don't want to lose the finals because you miss it. But yeah,
Oof.
yeah. Let's see what actually happens. And like I said, wish you the best of luck. GG's to both of you again. It was an exciting final series.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for commentating this, especially Clemos. I think you commentated every 4 of these matches, right? So thanks a lot to you. And
Definitely, thanks for me as well.
Oh yeah, no. Actually, yeah, I was just gonna say, first, GG's to both of you for putting on such a great series. It certainly was my privilege to be able to basically bring an English recast to life. I am quite partial to the German community, especially in the Rando, and to be able to showcase the talent that you two have is just really it's definitely our pleasure.
thank you.
Yeah.
I personally look forward to seeing you guys play more Rando. You guys are both awesome. So.
Yeah. Speaking of, now that we are coming to the end here, we can say the usual stuff. So if you do want to see more of our runners and don't want to wait until the next tournaments, that's a good reason to just leave them a follow and try to catch them when they stream. I know Illus does play quite a bit of ladder races, so you can certainly catch him play more rando if you want to. And while thalane may not do as much, so if he is streaming, it's always a pleasure to watch him. So certainly, if you want to see more of him, leave him a follow. You will be notified if they do more, and can show all your support to them, all the love. But yeah, I think that's about it. Of course, you can also support Clearmouse and myself as we did the restream, and we may actually do some stuff ourselves. So if you have enjoyed our commentary and want to support us, that's where you can do that. Also, big shout out to our tracker from the German community over the Roti 2952 did a good job of clicking the buttons behind the scenes. And yeah, it's always appreciated that there are people doing that in their free time to bring us this show, and we can follow everything else of it. But yeah, I think that's everything from us here right now. That is the conclusion of the German qualifiers. Be excited to follow Speed Gaming and all of their channels to don't miss anything of more random actions as will come soon in the form of SG Live, as well as quite a few other tournaments. So yeah, Speed Gaming is certainly a place to follow if you want to see more great races of Link to Past Rando, of quite a variety of other games. But yeah, I think that's all of that from me. I will sign out here. Thanks for watching, all of you. I hope you enjoyed it. We hope to see you again, and I will leave the last words to Clear Mouse.
Yeah, I just want to echo everything you said, Raylan. Thank you for being such an awesome co-commentator second time around for this great series. Thanks again to our runners, Illus and thalane. Congratulations again, Illus, for winning this series and being just in general some showcasing some really great talent. Thank you, Speed Gaming, and certainly hope to see you soon for the next set of either qualifiers, the next tournaments for Rando. Until then, have a good evening, good night, wherever you are. Take care.
Bye bye.